Today, we're going to talk about diet. Because if you want to have a healthy looking body, you need to have a healthy diet. But what does that actually mean? Most people think that the reason their body isn't the way they want it to look currently is because they simply eat too much, they have a slow metabolism, or they just don't work out enough. But here's the thing. I'm not just going to tell you to try keto diet or intermittent fasting, reducing portion sizes, lemon water in the morning, or whatever you may have heard from other people, because that's not what you need. What you need is to understand that the American food system is set up to keep people sick. So in America and Canada and, a few other countries you might be watching this from, the UK, for example, there is a thing called the FDA. It might be called something else in whatever country you're in, but in America, at least, the FDA is responsible for regulating what ingredients go into the foods that can go into our grocery stores. And this is very important because if something makes people sick, the FDA is supposed to make sure we are not consuming it, right? But the problem is that in America, we have this thing called lobbying. So basically, a food company starts up and then they put addictive substances into our food, right? They put weird chemicals that you don't even really know what they are, how they're made, where they come from, or anything. And they put them in the food and then you eat it without using your brain. You eat it and you don't think. You just think, oh, this is food for consuming. I'm gonna stuff it in my mouth. You eat it and then you want more and more and more, and you keep eating it, and you don't think anything of it because food is meant to be eaten, right? But the problem is, then you give the company a lot of money, okay? So then they have tons of wealth, super huge amounts of money, and then they take that money and they go to our government officials, and they're like, here, I'll give you this money if you make sure that I can keep using these ingredients in the food that I make and sell to people in the grocery stores in our country. Do you see where the problem is? This is a perpetuating cycle that we are stuck in. This was not occurring many, many years ago. So if you're around my age, your parents have not quite realized this. So when they were growing up, the ingredients in their foods weren't quite as bad as what's in our food today. And so our parents don't understand how much of a crisis we're in. And because of that, when you were growing up, when you were a little baby, child, they were feeding you these addictive substances without realizing it. And so you became addictive, not your own fault, not our parents' fault either because they didn't know better, but slowly over time, these companies have slipped in ingredients without our conscious awareness. And slowly over time, these foods have just gotten worse and worse and worse. They put more chemicals, more addictive substances into our food to the point where we're consuming ultra processed food. That's what I like to call it. In short, UPFs. Oops, if you will. And it is so likely that you are consuming these ultra processed foods on a daily basis and you just don't even know it because you don't take the time to read the ingredients label. And that's the whole point of this video, is to try to get you to understand that reading the ingredients label of everything you eat is so incredibly important. I don't want to demonize these foods and have a moral conflict with the food that can actually cause you to develop eating disorders, because you attach morality to foods, that's the beginnings of eating disorders. So we don't want to demonize these ultra processed foods and say they're bad, but if you just simply follow this one rule, like, I only eat real food, and some people around you might look at you funny. They probably will look at you funny if you're like, oh, this has potassium bromate cycloride nitron in it. I would prefer to not put that into my body. Thank you. I personally would applaud you if you maybe set that food aside. Maybe let's go for something a little more real. And if people come at you for this, it's because they don't understand what's going on here. They're not awake enough to realize that the government does have incentive to keep you sick. The government that we have now is not supportive of a healthy lifestyle, all right? It's just the truth of the matter. They make more money when we get sicker. The sooner you realize what you are eating is not real food. And if you just keep this one rule as I have, I promise you, I feel so much better. I have been relieved of my addictive habits. I have completely changed my life, mentally, physically, emotionally, just from this one rule, and it is that I only eat real food. I look at the ingredients label of every single thing I eat. Yes, sometimes convenience, we eat foods that have ingredients labels. Ideally, you would just never eat a food that has an ingredients label, because you're gonna eat like eggs, chicken, avocado, rice. Those don't need ingredients labels because they're just one ingredient, right? The best thing would be to have your own garden with chickens that you can eat their meat and the eggs. Obviously, we're not gonna do that. So second best thing is to just read the ingredients label of every single thing you eat and try to eat things with the least amount of ingredients in them. If you read the ingredients label and it has something in it that you don't exactly know what that is, you don't know where it comes from, how it's made, what it's processed with, the whole shebang. If you don't know, like chicken, I know chicken comes from the animal chicken. I know eggs, they pop them out their cooch. That's an egg. I know what an egg is, right? But I don't know what titanium dioxide is. And don't do a loophole and go look it up. Is titanium dioxide bad for you? Of course it's going to say, oh no, it's fine in moderate amounts. Of course, because we eat it all the time. Like, of course you're not dead, so it's fine. But sorry, I think that we can do better than just alive. I think we should all strive for optimal health, right? So yes, just because you Google, ask chat, oh, is titanium dioxide bad for you? And it's like, no, it's fine. Be so fucking for real. You don't know what the fuck titanium dioxide is. And even if you did, you cannot prove that it's bad, because we just started putting these ingredients in our foods as of recent. We have yet to see the long-term health. It's same shit as cigarettes. Doctors used to prescribe cigarettes. Now we know they give you cancer after years and years and years of evidence, right? So same idea with these processed foods. These have not been around for a long time. Our grandparents did not eat this shit. You don't know the health consequences of this. And so it's better to just avoid it, because there's no fucking way titanium dioxide is better for you than an avocado. I know that for a fact. A lot of times when I talk about these things, I get the comment, they say, oh, but weight loss is just calories in, calories out, right? And yes, technically, if you want to lose weight, you eat less calories, period. If you track all the calories and the calories are less, you will lose weight. That is a fact. But the thing that people are missing is that the goal of losing weight is to become healthier, right? Like, I don't know how we got separated away from that. We lose weight because we want to be healthy. Yes, you may think, oh, my body will be hotter if I weigh less, but that's not entirely true. The truth is, the healthier your body is, the sexier it'll look. So the goal is health, okay? We want to live long, healthy, fulfilling lives. Don't forget that. The goal is not just sex appeal. Sex appeal does come with a healthy body, but who do you think is going to be healthier? The person that consumes 1,000 calories of steak, egg, avocado, sweet potato, quinoa, whatever, or a person that consumes 1,000 calories of dog shit? Oh, but it doesn't matter. I'm losing weight. I'm eating the right macros. Like, there's more to this than just calories and macros. You want to do what's best for your body, what makes you feel healthy, happy, be able to move in a way that you love and enjoy and explore the earth and go fucking rock climbing or do whatever you want to do. But the goal is not simply abs or sex appeal or calories in, calories out. There's nuance to this. Okay, last thing I have for you is I'm going to read a list of ingredients that are commonly in our foods that we eat day to day that you should look out for one, but also just to get you to realize these ingredients are banned in other countries, but not in the United States of America, because the FDA does not give a fuck about whether we're healthy or not. They just care about their money. They're just getting their bag, okay? Let them do whatever they want to do. You know, we only have so much control over it, but you control your own life and you have a choice whether you want to eat these fake foods or if you want to eat real food. Just remember that. So here's a list. First things first, dyes. These dyes are in all the candies. Anything that's like colorful, anything that's super colorful that's not a literal fruit like a strawberry or an orange or whatever, if it's a processed food and it is a bright color, it likely has these dyes in it. These dyes are banned like everywhere else, basically. What happens when you have red 40, yellow 5, and yellow 6 specifically, these are banned in other countries because it is known for a fact that they cause hyperactivity in children. So ADHD, you don't have ADHD because your brain was just born that way. No, you have ADHD because you're eating red 40, a fake synthetic dye. You're eating that shit constantly and it's ruining your brain. That's one example. Along with blue 1 and blue 2, which are banned in all of Europe. And the titanium dioxide that I was previously referring to, mind you, banned in Europe for damage to your DNA. Next thing, brominated vegetable oil, BVO, linked to thyroid and memory issues. You're not crazy, you're just eating brominated vegetable oil. Next obvious one, high fructose corn syrup. But yes, it's still in everything you eat. Sodas, processed bread. It's in bread, yes. Condiments and just all sorts of snacks, Doritos and such. They've all got high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup causes metabolic dysfunction. It is way too high in fructose in comparison to if you just ate a piece of fruit. This causes metabolic disorder, which leads to diabetes. Like, the more you consume high fructose corn syrup, the more likely it is you're going to get diabetes. And if you have diabetes, the more likely it is that you will get cancer. It is highly likely that you will get cancer if you have diabetes. High fructose corn syrup causes cancer. Last thing is partially hydrogenated oils and trans fats. These are banned in Europe and Canada. Still found in America in baked goods, pies, frostings, and a lot of cheap snacks. If you guys want a more detailed list of ingredients to avoid, I can definitely do that. Comment below, but it's not that hard to figure out. If you read it and it sounds like some synthetic acid of sorts, don't eat it, okay? I don't know how else to say this to you. Just eat regular foods. If you want dessert, eat dessert. Make a fucking cookie. Like, use flour. Read the ingredients of the flour, though. But just use some flour. Almond flour is so good. You can make it at home and avoid all this, by the way. Blend up some almonds. Almond flour. Maple syrup. Vanilla extract, and avoid all this shit. Oh my god, I forgot a crucial detail. So there's this thing called GRAS, which is generally recognized as safe. And that's how they classify the ingredients that go into our foods. And if something is generally recognized as safe, they can just put it in the food without FDA approval. What that means is the company pays for a study to make sure the food is safe. And then if they can prove in their study that they funded that the ingredient is safe, they can just put it in the food. So the company gets to determine if the ingredient is safe or not. The company that sells the food that the ingredient is in gets to determine if the food is safe or not for us to eat. Are you hearing me? There is no regulation on the foods that you eat. Natural flavors, that could be anything. That could literally be anything. I don't want to freak you guys out, but like, it's not that hard to just eat regular food. It'll take you a while. It took me like a month, and I still slip up constantly. But if you want more information on this, or if you want to easier implement what I'm saying with eating single ingredient foods, read the book Ultra Processed People. I'll link it or something. I don't know. I read it on Audible. Changed my life. Sometimes you need to hear a lot of information about a subject to motivate you to actually go and change your life based on what it's telling you. So read the book Ultra Processed People. It literally changed my life, my whole diet. I was always wondering, what am I supposed to eat? What's healthy? What's not? I used to think only protein was important, and so I would just eat protein snacks all day. And now, oh my God, I feel so stupid. Don't eat processed foods. Please, I'm begging.